Welcome to a very special episode of Sphinx Talk with Brother Eric Christopher Webb. This episode is slightly different than my typical one-on-one interviews because I have two alpha brothers in Philadelphia that are helping to reshape and transform education for black men and others in the community. I have today the superintendent of the school district of Philadelphia, and that is Tony Watlington Sr., and I also have the president of the school board, Brother Reginald Streater. I'd like to welcome Brother Watlington. Welcome, Brother Watlington. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Glad to be here.
Well, this is such a special occasion when I find where alphas are leading on all aspects of education, and being a fraternity that's founded on the basis of education and ensuring that those in our community stay in school and matriculate and move on to higher education and things of that nature, and you both are leading. So, Brother Watlington, tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, let me say thank you for being here. It's exciting to be superintendent of the school district of Philadelphia. This is the nation's 8th largest school district out of 14,000 public school districts across the United States. And it's unique because you've got an alpha who is president of the Board of Education and alpha as a superintendent. I'm a graduate, a first-generation college student, graduated from North Carolina A&T State University.
Okay.
Greensboro, North Carolina, the largest HBCU in the country at present.
And the greatest homecoming.
And the greatest homecoming on earth. You've been there.
Right.
All right.
I haven't, but I'm going to make it one day.
You got to do it. Alphas will take good care of you down in Greensboro. Long story short, I got 3 fine young sons. My oldest, my namesake, is also an alpha who pledged at Beta Epsilon at North Carolina A&T. And because before I moved to Philadelphia 4 years ago to become superintendent, I served as superintendent of what's called the Innovation School District in North Carolina.
Okay.
Rowan-Salisbury Schools, just north of Charlotte. In that state, the legislature, composed of Democrats and Republicans, voted to give one school district a waiver from all the state rules to say, if we give you a waiver from all the rules, budget, curriculum, start, end dates, could you get better faster? And we were able to make some significant progress. When the Board of Education and President Streater and the board reached out and said, look, we have interest in you considering Philadelphia, I was excited to come to the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. What attracted me here, Brother Webb, is that our Board of Education is laser focused on improving academic performance in a school district where the majority population is black and brown kids. And this district is making significant progress. 2 things I want to share. Number one, our goal under our strategic plan, Accelerate Philly, is to be the fastest improving big city school district in the country, not for bragging rights, but because this is the place where the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution were authored, and we think the unfinished work is to educate black and brown kids so that all of our kids can participate in the economy. That's number one. The world's largest economy still. Number 2, I'm excited to be here in the school district as an alpha man, and I'm excited to tell you that this district is making significant improvement under the leadership of 2 alphas. 3rd through 8th grade test scores are going up. Our high school readiness, career readiness exam scores are up by more than 10 percentage points. 3rd through 8th grade reading and math are up by about anywhere from 5 to 6.5 percentage points. The graduation rate is up by nearly 7 points. And our dropout numbers have been reduced significantly by more than 1,400 dropouts in this city.
What do you attribute that to?
Let me tell you, number one, our Board of Education, the people who are in charge of setting a vision for education in Philadelphia, the 6th largest city, has focused on academic performance. Unlike other cities in other suburban districts, where when you go to a school board meeting, you'll hear people talking about everything about construction to, community programming. They spend the lion's share of their time focusing on monitoring things like student attendance, teacher attendance, how are we doing in terms of preparing kids academically. They spend their time on that. And they've designed a governance framework that President Streater Esquire will talk more about because that's the board's lane. But they set the standard here. And then they hire a superintendent and say, look, we're going to support you. We're going to give you the budgetary resources that you and your staff need. In return, we want our children to grow faster because the kids in Philadelphia absolutely deserve it. That's number one. Number two, we've got some awfully fine principals and teachers. A number of them are alphas. I want you to know that. I saw one of our principals at Bartram High School last night, a good brother at principal at Bartram High School last night, Dr. Johnson. And so we've, the number one thing to improve academic performance are highly qualified, well-supported, and stable teachers. And so we're pushing hard to support our teachers in the classroom because that's where the rubber meets the road, and that's what matters the most.
And this is no small feat because what I understand, you inherited some challenges.
Absolutely.
Right, let's talk about that.
Well, we got a number of challenges and opportunities. On the challenges side, number one, Pennsylvania is a state where the Commonwealth Court ruled in 2023 that the way the legislature funds schools, the 500 school districts in this state, is unconstitutional. So we suffer from historic underfunding.
Okay.
And when you have an old city, a historic city like Philadelphia with a number of old buildings, certainly that presents some facility challenges. It plays out in terms of facilities. And so we're having to make investments under our facilities plan to get all of our buildings up to a certain level of expectation. And we're having to address overcrowding and undercrowding like a lot of other school districts. So underfunding is one big issue.
Okay.
Another issue is historically we've had sluggish academic performance. And so we've narrowed our focus to say, in order to overcome this challenge of historic sluggish academic performance, we're going to focus on first, highly qualified, well-supported teachers. Second, highly qualified, well-supported leaders, principals. Third, we've launched green-rated, high-quality curriculum in reading, in math, and science across all schools in the school district, and we've standardized it. Very few big city school districts have taken that huge, bold step. Number four, we're providing our kids with more time to learn. And so we've launched an extended day, extended year pilot in 20 schools in the district. Student attendance is much better. We're going to see what achievement looks like. And number five, here's the other thing that we're focused on under President Streater's and the board and superintendent's leadership. We're focusing on, number five, building stronger, more equal partnerships with our parents and families. Parents are their children's first teachers. 50 years ago, that wasn't an issue as much because there was a connection between schools and communities.
Right.
On the panel last night, I heard several of the panelists talk about that. So we're launching an initiative called Parent and Family University.
And let me jump in real quick. The panel he's discussing and we currently right now are broadcasting live, shooting live at the 98th General Convention of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and the public program last night was on advocacy and education, empowering Black men for college and beyond. So I'll let you go on.
And so number five, we're focusing on building equal partnerships with our parents and families. We want them at the table. Nothing for us without us. It's paying off in terms of outcomes.
So I said this is an important issue, and education is very important to me. Because aside from my background as a journalist and a best-selling author or whatnot, I spent some time as a classroom teacher. I was a high school English teacher in Prince George's County school system and DC. I've been a college professor teaching journalism and literature or whatnot. So education is important. And so with that in mind, and the piece of being a reporter and being zero focused, I was a Washington correspondent, so got to take it to Washington now.
Sure.
We are facing the dismantling of the Department of Education. Yes. What impact do you see that's going to have on your students and your schools? Before
I answer that question, let me just say I'm so impressed that you were a high school English teacher before you became an accomplished author and journalist. And the best dressed brother and with the best hat in Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Let me just say that I think one of the best things that President Jimmy Carter did, one of his signature accomplishments, was the establishment of the U.S. Department of Education.
Yes.
When you think about the United States of America has the world's largest economy, the world's strongest military, and in the 20th century, this nation figured out how to build a middle class. It all comes down to how well we educate people to be able to participate in this economy. And certainly the U.S. Department of Education has played an important key role in getting Title I and other federal dollars out to school districts, having a wing that focuses on compliance to make sure that we're making progress for all kids. Certainly the cuts in the U.S. Department of Education will have strong impacts on school districts. So we're still paying close attention. To date, we've had about a $3 million impact. Recently, the Department of Education's freezing of billions of dollars could result in a $34.3 million shortfall here in the district. We are really dependent on federal dollars. They make up 10% of our $4.6 billion budget. So the impacts could downstream be class sizes having to go higher, students with disabilities who qualify for special education services could be significantly impacted, and certainly students who are what we refer to as English language learners or multilingual learners would have a significant impact. So we're having to tighten our belt. We're having to pay close attention. President Streater and I went to Washington, D.C. earlier this year to talk to our legislators, both Republicans and Democrats. And here's the message that we said. Number one, this district is being good stewards of every dollar that we're getting from the city, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the federal government. And number two, and we showed the evidence for that, clean audits, improved investment grade credit rating, et cetera. And number two, we made the case that we're getting better. We talked about test scores going up, four-year cohort graduation rates going up, and we talked about the dropout rate going down. And that's really important.
What is the ultimate piece that you want to see happen, program, project?
Two things. Number one, we want all of our young people, irrespective of race, gender, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, disability, et cetera, we want every young person to graduate, and first we want them to be healthy, well people.
Right.
Because mental health and social and emotional health is so important in this age that we live in. And number two, we want every child in the school district of Philadelphia, in the nation's 6th largest city and 8th largest school district in this country, to graduate ready to succeed in college, whether it's 4 or a 2-year college or university, or if they're going to go into the military, to be prepared to do that and do it well for a career. And if they're not going to do that, we want them to be prepared to take a job that is not a minimum wage paying job, but a job where they have an industry certification and some skills where they can command a strong, good income to take care of themselves and their families. So we're taking this go to high school, go to college initiative in our fraternity very seriously, because both the board president and myself come from humble backgrounds, meager backgrounds, and we want to pay it forward for all the children in the city of Philadelphia.
Well, I definitely think the city of Philadelphia, the parents and students and young people of Philadelphia have education in good hands with you. And we did not say that you were, in 2024, you were Superintendent of the Year?
I was honored with an award by the District Administration Leadership Institute as Superintendent of the Year, and I was very honored to do that on behalf of the 200,000 children in the school district in the city of Philadelphia, and a fantastic Board of Education under the leadership of Board President Reginald Streater, Esquire, and our wonderful education mayor, the 100th mayor, Mayor Sherelle L. Parker.
From my alma mater, Lincoln University.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say that. Well, Brother Watlington, I just want to thank you so much for coming out and being my special guest on Sphinx Talk. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it. And coming up, we have the president of the School Board of Philadelphia, Brother Reginald Streater, Esquire. Welcome back to Sphinx Talk. I'm your host, Brother Eric Christopher Webb, and I am here with Brother Reginald Streater, Esquire, who is the president of the School Board of Philadelphia. Brother Streater.
Brother Webb, I'm blessed to be here. Thank you so much.
Welcome. So we're continuing this discussion on education and how alpha men are transforming education in Philadelphia with the two major educational leaders in the city. So Brother Streater, welcome. How long have you been president of the board?
3 years going on 4, but it feels like 50, but it's a good 50.
Wow. and you in Philadelphia, as I was talking to Brother Watlington, you guys have seen some challenges.
Oh yeah.
So you guys didn't inherit a smooth ride. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I see it as opportunities, and I think what the Board of Education and what I believe is that in order for an institution to operate the way that it does, you have to figure out what are your first principles. And our first principle is to educate the babies, 100%. If we don't ever educate children, we failed. I understand that it's very important for us to teach our children who they are, where they come from, but if that's not in service of education, or if our education doesn't supplement that, we have failed. So I think that's been our biggest challenge historically, and I think everything else kind of piles onto that.
In your regular professional life, you are an attorney. Tell me about that real quick.
Yeah, and I think that's the blessing of being a trial attorney. One of the things I told myself when I went back to school as a non-traditional student, I was a bartender working at TGI Fridays, City Line Avenue, serving AI for those who live in Philly and understand that piece. But I was able to come back to school and get an undergrad degree. And then I had to make a decision, do I want to get a PhD or get a Juris Doctorate? And one of the things I told myself was, number one, I want to get a degree that gives me the skill sets to not just be a high level thinker, but also have access to skills that I can bring back home to my community in any way that I can, and gain access to a space that maybe less than 2% of all attorneys are black. So I decided to go to law school. And with that, I told myself, I need a guiding principle for my life. And the guiding principle for my life is if I'm going to do this and enrich myself as an attorney and do well, I need to find a way to give back to my community. So with that, I decided to be on the board for the ACLU, the board of the Philadelphia Barristers Association. And then one of our fraternity brothers, Brother Kevin Harden, who's an attorney here in Philadelphia as well, reached out to me and said, "Hey, brother, you said you want to punch on your punch at your weight. There's an opportunity, and they're looking for a brother to be on the Board of Education." And the previous mayor gave me the call, and now I'm here. So I'm blessed to be here, and I get to use that skill set as a trial attorney who helps people every day on the civil rights space, also in the personal injury and medical malpractice catastrophic space. And I bring those exact skills in my lived experience as a graduate from the School District of Philadelphia to the role every day.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So how are you in Brother Watlington working to transform education in Philadelphia?
Well, I think
together.
100%. So I do see my role as being the conduit between the Board of Education and the superintendent. And I think of my role as being, in a way, the advocate for each other. But also I'm the one who figures out where the compromises are, but also where there's the alignment. And I think for Tony Watlington and our brother Watlington and our focus is, number one, ensuring that the board's will and mission is being implemented with fidelity. Two, I think we also respect each other's roles, right? I'm the board president, so it's kind of the above the line, and he is the superintendent, which is like the CEO. And so what I try to do is stay out of his way so he can do what he needs to do. And then what we do is we ensure that he has everything he needs to be successful. I think the biggest challenge in Philadelphia is there's so many competing interests. And I think, again, focusing on student achievement, which is what we have done, which is why we exist, I think makes it easier to cut through all of the noise, cut through all of the non-material facts, and focus on the material facts, which is to educate our children.
And that's unique, because I've been a president of a board. I was president of the Literacy Council of Prince George's County at one point in time, and so this is a very small scale, working with the executive director, or not the administrator, and so that's a delicate line to watch in terms of relational, and you guys are fraternity brothers. So how is that perception, how do folks perceive that outside?
Well, I think, I mean, obviously.
I mean, you're professionals, but
Yeah.
still.
I mean, on Founders Day, I mean, obviously, we're not going to be in the action meeting acting like we're not alphas, right? And we, from time to time, the Divine Nine comes and testifies, and alphas come and testify. So we don't hide our alphadom. But I think that for us, it's iron sharpens iron, right? And I think that we project as not being the type of fraternity brothers where we're going to let each other off the hook, right?
Right.
I think we also are committed to the mission. And I think there's an understanding that there's the fraternity life, but there's also the work that's being done. But the thing about Brother Watlington, he makes it very easy for me, right? Because we give clear direction, and he does what he does, which is move the needle on academic achievement, fix very complex, hard problems. And I think also because he and I are aligned that sometimes you have to go slow to go fast, right? In big cities, sometimes people want instant gratification. But sometimes you got to say, okay, we're going to put this fire up, but how are we going to make sure fires don't ever come back again? That takes strategic planning, and that takes things like Accelerate Philly, which is our strategic plan. We're doing it around our facilities right now as we have that conversation, because we have a very large footprint, but some challenges there and opportunities there as well. But I think, again, having alphas who understand the roles of the board president, and we respect each other. So I'll give you an example. So Brother Watlington, whenever he is talking to external third parties and something is the board's lane, which is governance, policy, budget, mission, and vision, and we're the authorizer of all charter schools of Philadelphia, he'll kindly redirect them. That's the board's lane, right? Mm-hmm. And then whenever something is administrative, something that is in his bailiwick, what I do is I like to stay above the line, because how can I hold somebody accountable for things if I'm going in every 2 days to go say, do it this way or do it that way? Right. So I think that's kind of signaling that to the public, I think creates the understanding that there is the line between governance and running the school district.
What plans are you putting in place if the Department of Education goes away tomorrow? Mm-hmm. What kind of big picture plans ideas are you guys tossing around?
Well, I think what this board has done is strategic planning. So I was at Eisenhower Fellow, and I went to Kenya, and I went to Finland, and I could have made my program about anything. I went to both of those countries for 2 weeks straight, but I made it about public education. And how do you really create a system of public education that could withstand the political winds, right? Depoliticizing public education probably be the best thing this country can do. You got to depoliticize it, because our children can't go on this yo-yo all the time. That being said, what I learned in Finland and Kenya is known as having the best education system on the whole continent of Africa, right? Oh yeah, they like to say sub-Saharan, no, the whole continent. Right. And Finland is also known as having one of the best education systems in America. But one of the reoccurring themes was strategic planning, right? And having a policy cycle. So right now we're in about year 3 of a policy cycle, and we've called it Accelerate Philly. So what we believe is that when you co-create where you're headed, where you're going, you actually create advocates for the work you're doing. They can help you bake the cake while you're baking it, right? And not say it tastes bad when we finish baking it. Right. And then we can have a strategic plan of that signals to the community, signals to the government, signals to the state where we're headed, and we're all speaking the same language. So I think that's the plan right now. Obviously with funding though, I think this is to your question, we're not going to jettison our Accelerate Philly strategic plan. But as Brother Watlington often says, with funding, it's almost like looking at a car. Are you going to get the Pinto version? Mm-hmm. Are you going to get the Cadillac version, or are you going to get the Rolls Royce version, right? Right. So for us, we're going to stay on the mission, but our job is to advocate and get parents to advocate with us and others to advocate with us to get us fairly funded. This is the thing I am the most worried about. There's this thing called the IDEA, which is the Civil Rights Act for people with special needs. Right. It is a mandate that school districts engage with children who have special needs. As you know, a substantial amount of our community have students. We have students who have special needs, and you're mandated to do things. Right. That funding right now is also, from my understanding, under threat, which means it becomes an unfunded mandate, which means we have to pull money out of our operating budget to do what the federal government wants us to do. With the Department of Education, it might be a shell of itself that might become an enemy, right? So instead of helping us, we might have to litigate more, right, which costs more money. And also there's a free reduced lunch program, right? That's another thing that's in big cities like Philadelphia. Sometimes our babies, this is the only place that they can get, right? So that's another thing that we're worried about. But we will not stop focusing on student achievement, because we understand that we may want to show children where Africa is on the map, but we want to make sure that when they get older, they have the skill sets necessary to either interrogate it with their minds or go visit it with their bodies. And the only way to do that, I believe, is to have access to the 21st century economy that's becoming more of a global economy with AI and things like that starting to take over, and automation.
And I mean, automation is going to be a big thing in the workforce, which is going to take a lot of people are going to lose their jobs.
Right.
AI, and with AI as well. You mentioned about Kenya, and you mentioned about Finland and whatnot, and I think in some earlier private discussions you were talking about some other engagements with some international folks.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so one of the things that Dr. Watlington, the Board of Education, our great Mayor Sherella Parker, definitely want to give her a shout out. She's a sister of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She blocks and tackles for us in ways that have made it easier for us to do the work we do to educate our children, and we are in complete alignment. We were able to invite the Duke of Edinburgh, which is Queen Elizabeth's youngest, the late Queen Elizabeth's youngest son, to do a program here, and we were the first big school district to do it.
Wow.
What
was that program like?
What the program entails is that there'll be high schoolers from all over the city who have an opportunity to engage with the organization that the Duke of Edinburgh awards, and it's almost like an upward bound type thing where they have to go through these processes and kind of create their own mechanism, and there's different levels, and children who kind of make it through the hardest level, and some of it's physical, they get an award. So it's a combining of student achievement, but also kind of the real world, and we're excited about that as well. So that's just another example of the big work we're doing here in Philadelphia.
And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your alpha journey. I got to ask. Mm-hmm. I always try to ask every brother that comes on Sphinx Talk to talk a little bit about their alpha journey, how they came to alpha, what influenced them to becoming an alpha, and how does alpha, have an impact. And I've kind of heard how alpha already has an impact on his brother's job and other brothers' jobs. So tell me a little bit about your alpha journey.
Yeah, I was made at the at Mighty Road chapter, the only single letter alumni chapter in the fraternity. Very proud of that. But I will say Robert Harold Ogle, right, our jewel. I think for me, when I was in school, reimagining myself, apropos for the 90th convention, I looked at who were the founders of this fraternity and who can I align with. And I think for me, joining the fraternity as a non-traditional student, not as in my early 20s, I had some children and I was a single father, and understanding that Robert Harold Ogle was a widower and was able to, trudge the frozen tundra of Cornell in the winter and help create this literary society that has become what it is, and being a part of that legacy, I think that was kind of my inkling, like, okay, this is the fraternity that I want to join. And I think also just being first is good, right? That's helpful, but I think also, our programming, go to high school, go to college, and I'm also pretty Afrocentric in understanding the role that the Sphinx or Kemet plays in our fraternity. I think those were the things, and then just knowing alphas. I mean, there were high school teachers that I didn't know were alphas, and then I found out they were alphas, and then you kind of see the
then
alpha.
It makes sense,
yeah,
right?
You see the alpha motif, like, oh, I get why you were saying what you were doing, making me learn poems that that are part of the poems that we all had to learn. So I think that was kind of my journey as well, and I do believe that this fraternity is the greatest fraternity on earth.
I would just like to say thank you so much, Brother Streater, for coming out. It's been definitely a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing what you and Brother Watlington are going to do in Philadelphia and how your continued success. This has been another episode of Sphinx Talk with Brother Eric Christopher Webb, 06.